Placement season is about to start, and a lot of people are wondering what to do before the placement season. They're wondering what to learn, where to learn it from, and they're having doubts like that. So in this video, I'm going to show you what to do before the placement season so you have the best shot at clearing your placements and so that you're placement ready when it actually comes. So this video will be divided into 4 parts, and all of these parts will have video chapters, so you can skip ahead to any part that you want. And all of these 4 parts are what you should do before the placement season, and all of these 4 parts are necessary for you to be placement ready. So starting with part number 1, which is the most important, which is data structures and algorithm and problem solving. So you would know by now that DSA and problem solving are the most important for cracking any company, for any good company at the very least. So DSA and problem solving are of utmost importance. So where to learn it, how to learn it, let's get into that. Before you think of learning DSA, you should have mastery over one programming language. So you need to know one programming language. So you can choose either C++ or you can choose Java. You can choose even other programming languages, but I strongly suggest to you either go with C++ or go with Java. And you can also learn C, because I've seen a few companies ask programming questions from C. So if you have time, you can learn C as well, but absolutely learn either C++ or Java. Now, where to learn? You can learn from w3schools.com. It's a great website, and you can also learn from Java T-Point, Tutorials Point. There's a ton of websites. I'll give a link to all of them in the description. But the idea is to learn a programming language, the basic syntax, within a week or 2 weeks. So take either a week or 2 weeks according to your pace and learn either programming language. I suggest either C++ or Java. Now, once you've learned the basic syntax of the language, once you're able to write a few programs in that language, the next thing to do is master the library of that programming language. So the library, C++ has STL, Java has collection, and these library will really help you in solving complex problems down the line. So you need to know the library of these programming languages before you start learning DSA or problem solving. So where to learn? Go on YouTube, and if you're learning C++, if you've learned C++, then go on YouTube and search C++ STL in one video. And from the top few results, watch one of the videos, make notes, try hands on what they're doing, and you'll have a good understanding of C++ STL. I'll also give some links in the description. You can check out from there also. Likewise, if you're learning Java, if you've learned Java, then for Java collections, go on YouTube and search Java collections in one video. From the top few search results, just click on one of the videos and watch the video, practice hands-on, take notes, and you'll have a good understanding of how Java collection works. So having a good understanding of the library, like I said, is really important for you in order to solve complex problems down the line. So once you've learned the programming language and you've mastered the library, or you've understood the library of the programming language, the next thing to do is jump straight into DSA. So how do you learn DSA, data structure and algorithm? The first thing is to get a list of all the data structure and algorithm that you're going to learn. So Geeks for Geeks has a list of DSA which are essential for placement. I'll give a link to that in the description, or you can just Google search DSA Geeks for Geeks, you'll get the list, but you can also find it in my description. So from that list, the list will have something like array, strings, linked list, tag queue, all the DSA which are important. So this is what you're going to do. From that list, you're going to pick one by one each DSA. So either linked list or anything, you can pick one by one. So suppose you pick linked list from that list. So now you're going to work on linked list. So for each DSA, this is what you're going to do. First, you're going to learn the theory of that. Second, you're going to implement it in code. And third, you're going to solve problems. And you're going to do this for each DSA from that list. So suppose you're on linked list. So you take linked list. The first thing you do is learn the theory of linked list. How you do that? The best website for learning theory of any DSA is YouTube. So go on YouTube. There's tons of video on DSA. Just search linked list theory or linked list working, and you'll find a ton of videos. Watch it and understand theory wise how a linked list works. Okay, once you know the theory, how it works, the next thing, like I said, is implementation. And you're going to implement it in code, either C++ or Java, whatever you have learned. So try to implement it yourself. First, try to implement it yourself. If you're not able to implement yourself, or if you're having doubts, then you can take hints online. Just don't try to copy the code from online. Take hints and write the code yourself. Now, where you can take hints, you can go on Geeks for Geeks. Geeks for Geeks has codes for every DSA, and they have code for both C++ and Java. So they have codes for both. So you can just take hints from there and try to implement yourself. Don't copy code from anywhere. So Like once you've implemented the code yourself, or if you're not able to understand the code from Geeks for Geeks, you can again just Google search linked list implementation in C++ or linked list implementation in Java. You'll find a ton of codes and take hints from there and try to implement the DSA yourself. That's the idea. So you've learned the theory and you've implemented it in code. The next thing to do is solve problems. For solving problems, you're going to use two websites. One is LeetCode, another is Geeks for Geeks. So these two websites are enough to solve DSA problems. You don't need to go anywhere else. These two are pretty much enough. How to solve problem? So suppose the DSA you were on was linked list. So for linked list, what you did, you learned the theory, you implemented it in code, and now you're going to solve problems. So go on LeetCode, search by tags of linked list, you'll find some problems and try to do 3 to 4 easy problem, 2 to 4 medium problem, and 2 to 3 hard problems. And this is gonna be enough. Ideally, you should solve as many problems as possible, but at the very least, try to solve 3 to 4 easy, 3 to 4 medium, and 2 to 3 hard problem for each DSA. So you can do this on LeetCode, then again on Geeks for Geeks. For each DSA, they also have some problems and solve a few problems from there also. So doing this, learning the theory from YouTube and then implementing it yourself, or either taking hints from online or Geeks for Geeks, and then finally solving problems on LeetCode and Geeks for Geeks, and doing this for every DSA is gonna be enough, and you're able to have an understanding of how DSA is working, and you're gonna be able to have a grasp over DSA. And when you practice a lot of questions, you'll have absolute mastery over DSA. Now, this was just a classic DSA. So till now you solve problems like reverse a linked list or find the middle of linked list. These are classic DSA problems. But in interviews, a lot of time the problems that come are not so classic. So you need to practice those kind of problems as well. So once you finish with the DSA, this is what you're going to do. So go on either of the coding platforms like Codeforces, CodeChef, HackerRat. I suggest Codeforces. So go on Codeforces and they have contests there. They have Div 2, Div 1, Div 3 contests. So go on Div 2 contest and try to solve problems till Div 2C. So they have difficulty like Div 2A is the easiest problem, Div 2B is more difficult, and it goes on like that. So try to solve till Div 2C or try to solve till Div 2D, because that's like the maximum difficulty that is asked in placements. So go on Codeforces and try to solve like I would say 30 to 40 problems or up to 50 problems till Div 2C. So for each contest, try to solve Div 2A, Div 2B, Div 2C and Div 2D. And at any time, if you're not able to solve a problem, then obviously you can read an editorial or watch a video tutorial on YouTube. So try to solve problems till Div 2C or at max Div 2D, and try to solve like 30, 40 or 50 problems, and that'll be enough. And you can also give contests. I highly suggest giving contests because it helps you in practicing under a time constraint. Because what happens in placement is that companies take a coding round. And in the coding round, basically the idea is that you're given a time limit and you're given 4 or 5 problems and you have to solve those problems under the time limit. So to practice for that, it's a great thing to give contest. So again, you can give Codeforces contest on Division 2. So you can give Div 2 contest on Codeforces, and you can give LeetCode contest. So give LeetCode contest. LeetCode has weekly and bi-weekly contest. So you can give contest on LeetCode as well. And at any time, if you're having trouble understanding the problem or the solution on Codeforces or on LeetCode or on Geeks for Geeks, just watch the editorial, read the editorial, or look for a video tutorial and you'll understand. And doing this is gonna be enough, I would say pretty enough for you to have mastery over DSA and problem solving. So to summarize what you did so far, you learned a programming language, either C++ or Java, you learned the library of that programming language, then you jumped into DSA and you went one by one. For each DSA, you learned the theory, you implemented it in code, you solved problems on that, and after that, you went on Codeforces or any other coding platform of your choice, you solved some problems, and then you gave contest on a coding platform and on LeetCode, and you gave few contests. I would suggest try to give 10 contests on LeetCode and other coding platform like Codeforces, and that will be like really good for your practice. So this is what you did for DSA and problem solving, and doing this is gonna be enough. You can always solve more problems to increase your chances and to increase your practice, but this is gonna be enough. Now let's move to the next part. The next thing that you need is a project. So when you go for placements, then you should have a good resume, and in that you should have a good project that you've made yourself. So for making projects, you need to learn a technology. So you can learn web development, you can learn Android development, or you can learn machine learning or blockchain. There's a ton of options available. But again, if I am to suggest something, then I would highly suggest go with web development. because web development is a very in-demand field and a lot of companies are looking for web developers all the time. So they're looking for React developers, Node developers, like that. So go with web development, or even if you want to learn something else like blockchain or Android, you can go with that. Now, the best way to learn any technology, what I think, is via courses, online courses. So go on Udemy, and for any course that you want, for example, web development, search web development courses or full stack courses. You will find a ton of courses. Just buy one, and the Udemy courses are pretty cheap, like only 300 to 350 rupees. So take one course and then just follow the course, and the course also has projects. So you can follow one of the projects like that, but make sure that your project is a bit unique from the one that they made in the course. Now, if you don't want to buy a course, if you don't have money to buy a course, that is also okay. So YouTube has a list of playlists. YouTube has great playlists on each development. So some channels I would suggest is Code with Harry. So Code with Harry has a web development playlist where he has also made some projects on the playlist. And there's other channels, there's Telesco. So you can learn technologies from YouTube and then you can make a project yourself. But to make things easier, you can take a course from Udemy and try to finish it within a month or 2 months. And if you don't want to take a course, then again, go on YouTube, search the technology and try to make the project by yourself. Okay, but the idea is to have a one good project which showcase your skills, which is a little bit unique and a little bit complex, and that showcases that you've actually put in some efforts and you've learned something to like work on the project and to make the project. So with this, complete a project, take a month, take 2 months, and then put it on your resume. The next thing that you need is a good knowledge of computer science fundamentals. So computer science fundamentals are subjects like operating system, object-oriented programming, DBMS, computer networks, etc. And it's very essential to know these subjects because in interviews, a lot of times the interviewer asks questions from these subjects. So where to learn? First, you have to make notes for these subjects. I highly recommend making notes for learning the computer science fundamentals. So have one note or notebook for OS, have one notebook for operating system, have one notebook for OOP, OS and operating system are the same. So have one notebook for each of these subjects. Now where to learn these subjects? You can go on Geeks for Geeks, and Geeks for Geeks has like theory wise notes and material on each of these. So go on Geeks for Geeks, open operating system and learn everything one by one, make notes topic wise. Then again go on object-oriented programming, like look at the articles, learn the topics one by one, make notes. And if you're having doubts, then you can go on YouTube and also learn. So Gate Smashers is a YouTube channel which has videos and playlists on each of these computer science subjects. So you can learn from there also, but mostly try to learn from Geeks for Geeks because Geeks for Geeks has the material which is most relevant to placements. So again, to reiterate, make notes from Geeks for Geeks, watch videos from Gate Smashers YouTube channel and try to form notes. Okay, and before the interviews, you can learn from last minute notes of Geeks for Geeks. So Geeks for Geeks has last minute notes on each of these subjects. So for operating system, they have last minute notes. For OP, they have last minute notes. So you can use that to revise. Okay, so learn computer science fundamentals using Geeks for Geeks and using YouTube, specifically the Gate Smashers YouTube channel. So the last thing is aptitude and puzzles. So aptitude and puzzles are not really that difficult or not even that necessary, but still I've kept it in this list because a lot of companies ask aptitude questions and have aptitude rounds before they conduct any other round. So for learning aptitude or for like understanding aptitude, know that aptitude is divided into 3 parts: quantitative aptitude, logical and reasoning, and verbal. So you're going to solve problems from each of these. So the only thing which is important for aptitude and solving aptitude questions is the formula or the trick required to solve the problem. So do one thing, have a notebook and in there note down the formula and the tricks. So for that, go on indiabix.com, and for each of these, like I mentioned, quantitative aptitude, logical reasoning, verbal, they have problems. They have tons of problems on each of these, indiabix.com. I'll give a link in the description. So go there and solve the problems. If there's a problem you're not able to understand, then note down that formula, put it in your notebook, or if there's a trick to solving a problem, note down that trick, put it in your notebook, and then revise that before going into the aptitude round. And the only secret to cracking aptitude round is to just practice as many aptitude questions as possible. That's pretty much it. There's nothing else to it. There's no theory, there's nothing like that. So for solving problems, again, like I said, indiabix.com, go there, solve a ton of problems, and that will be pretty much enough. For solving puzzles, a lot of companies also ask puzzles. So for puzzles, go on Geeks for Geeks. Geeks for Geeks has a whole section dedicated to puzzles. Go there and solve a lot of puzzles. If you're not able to solve, watch the solution, try to get an understanding of that, and that will be enough for puzzles. So like I said, aptitude and puzzles is not really that important or even necessary or even that difficult, but still make sure that you don't postpone it or procrastinate it to the last minute. This is the one tip I'll give to you. I've seen a lot of people and they think that they'll manage aptitude at the very end, and at the end they're not able to like perform well in aptitude round, and because of that they're not able to crack a lot of companies. So at the beginning of your preparation, give 1 or 2 hours daily to aptitude. Don't procrastinate it till the last minute, because then it might become a hassle for you, or it might become an obstacle for you in cracking your companies, even if you know other things. So don't lag behind in aptitude or puzzles. Give it 1 or 2 hours daily. There's no secret to it. Just solve a lot of problems and that'll be more than enough. So that's it. These 4 parts, and I also have dedicated video for each of these parts. I'll give link to them in the description. You can also watch them. So make sure that you do all of these and put in like the work, effort and time for all of this. It might be a little bit difficult, but at the end of the day, it'll be worth it when you're able to crack your dream company. So make sure that you follow all of these, solve a lot of problems, practice as much as you can, give it honest time, efforts and dedication, and you'll be able to see the result as soon as the placement season starts. So that's all. Thank you.